Thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my podcast, The Fed. I'm here with the lovely Travis Steffens. He is the CEO of 3 companies right now. He's a very successful businessman that I've known for quite some time now. And he has graced me with his presence on my podcast, which I am very thankful for. And I have a few questions for him. I'll keep it brief, but I think he has some very valuable insights that he can't help but share. And so, anyway.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Mark.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. So first question, just to start it off strong, what belief or mindset shift most contributed to your first million and your first 100 million?
So there's a saying that the first million is the hardest, and then from there on out, it gets a lot easier. And there is a lot of truth to that because we have roadblocks in our mental capacity. And money is a measurement of value, including self-value. And so oftentimes we have mental blocks thinking that $1 million is a lot of money until we make $1 million. And oftentimes we set goals thinking that once we reach a mountaintop, that mountaintop is going to hold some sort of surprise to it, and we're going to reach some catalyst in life where we're going to be happy. And then you reach that $1 million mark and you're like, this is not what I thought it was going to be at all. But your mental capacity now understands that $1 million is not that much money. And then once you realize it's not that much money, then it opens up for 100 million, a billion. And then you watch your numbers in your mental capacity start to go up because your value of yourself starts to go up.
Wow. So it's really just the perception you have of yourself and what you believe you're worth, and
it's not the perception, it's the belief.
Belief.
Because we could perceive things,
right,
but it's the underlying belief system.
Beautiful. So what's a common trait that you've noticed in other people who became truly wealthy?
They realize that money doesn't equal wealth. So money equals rich, wealthy equals wisdom. And so I can take your riches from you, or your riches can be stolen from you, if you will, but you can never take away wisdom. Knowledge is a book on a bookshelf. Wisdom is the ability to use knowledge. So there's a gap between the two.
Right.
And you build that gap, that bridge, one brick at a time through experience, through trials, tribulations, wins, pain, laughter, suffering, all the things to get to wisdom. And then once there's a connection between the two, you now have this neural connection, if you will, where you can latch into that knowledge, the book on the bookshelf, and you can actually use it wisely.
Wow.
And you can never take that. Once that bridge is built, it can never be taken.
That was very beautiful. I really like that analogy. Now, I wanted to ask you about your experiences. You've had quite some stories that you've shared with me that I've really enjoyed listening to, but do you have any regrets? And if so, what's your biggest regret or mistake that taught you the most?
I've lived my life on the edge and very extreme compared to how most people would live their lives. And I've done that because I truly desire to never feel a regret. And I would say the only regrets I have are around not loving more.
Not loving more.
It's not around money, it's not around experiences, because I've had 10 lifetimes of experiences in half of in 46 revolutions around the sun. I've had more business experience than most men can possibly, or women can possibly fathom. But when I look back, where I regret is where I could have loved harder.
Love hard. So what early signs tell you then that a business has real scalability?
And I want to back up again. I do have one regret.
Yeah.
along with loving hard, is I wish I wouldn't have rushed the process. Rushing the process and using your will center to accomplish things will break the machine.
Right.
Your will break the machine. The universe is designed to operate in harmony. And when you get guys like me who are type A personalities, our will is strong enough, at which your will is the most powerful thing on the planet, but can never overcome nature. And when the will attempts to overcome nature, it may leap the chasm for a short period of time, but the bill always comes due. And I do regret rushing the process.
And you can see that in many different aspects of life. Currently, at this moment, I'm nowhere near your level of success financially. But even on this big road trip that I'm in the middle of, every time, every hour where I felt like I was in a rush and I needed to get to the next town or to wherever I was intent on spending the night at, I would miss out on the beautiful country and scenery, and immediately the pain of sitting in my car for an hour or 2 hours became unbearable. I needed to pull over and stretch my legs. But when I really just enjoyed it and really looked around at the dirt that we all emerged from, it's beautiful. And it's such an enjoyable experience to be sitting in a car for 8 hours, 9 hours by yourself or listening to a podcast.
Yeah, when you think about rushing, there's only two places in life that we can ever come from: fear or love. So those are the only two categories, if you will. And rushing stems from fear.
Right.
Because it stems from fear, and fear always originates from a thought of loss.
Right.
So the only reason why we ever rush is a fear of loss.
Right.
And so standing in the love paradigm, which is where we desire to stand, they both have to exist simultaneously or love wouldn't exist. But it lets you know that every time we rush, we're actually stepping into a place of fear.
I like that a lot. So now to talk more about business, that was very beautiful. You've been a part of many, many, many businesses that have, a lot of them have been successful. What early signs tell you that a business has real scalability?
The founder.
The founder.
The founder is the sign.
I see. So
I look at the founder, and then the second thing I look at is, are they entering a blue ocean or a red ocean?
Right.
It's the second thing I look at.
Right. Blue ocean, for those who aren't familiar with the term, is basically an untapped market or an untapped way of servicing a market. A red ocean is one that's already full of essentially many kills and a lot of wins or sales, and so. You're running quite a few companies right now, but you seem to always have time. How do you build systems that run without you?
That's a good question. So, true business comes from understanding that it processes, and then people, and then profits. So we can all go out and build a company because we have this desire to be an entrepreneur. And there are actually very, very few entrepreneurs in the world.
Really?
Yeah, there are very few entrepreneurs. There are a lot of technicians and a lot of managers that step out to become an entrepreneur because they seek freedom, which is beautiful, and I will always support that. But what happens is we build what we call a business, but we're actually just building a job. And then we become enslaved to our business, which just means that we just built ourselves into being an employee for another job.
Right.
Which is actually a lot more stressful, and you have a lot more stuff to do, and you have a lot more responsibilities. And then you end up resenting what you're doing because you end up just being the employee that you left this place over here to become this place over here. And so the concept that just starting a business creates a business owner is a fallacy. And processes are a key role in success of everything. You and I did morning rituals this morning together, and I have a process of getting up at 3:50 in the morning and starting at a certain time to have a certain outcome, because outcomes are what we're after in business and life in general. And so without a process, we're going to constantly have different outcomes, and the outcomes won't always serve us, which is fine. We don't always need to be served. But we think processes build us into a box. So I've been with my business coach, Samurai Success, for now 21 years. And when I started with him, I didn't have a fucking clue how to build a process. And I hated the thought of a process because I'm like, I don't want to be inside of a box.
Right.
It puts me in a box because I'm a very free spirit, very entrepreneurial spirit. But I learned that processes actually bring systematic freedom.
Yeah.
And that through the process, I could then step from an entrepreneur employee to the business owner quadrant, as Robert Kiyosaki says. And so when you reach that business owner quadrant, then you can become an investor. And then you can have a bunch of businesses like Warren Buffett. And so processes and systems are absolutely critical to everything in life.
Right. And how do you discern between where to build a process or a system and where to not even worry about it, kind of handle it on a as it comes basis?
There's two thought processes around that. There is one thought process that you can over-process a business, and I do buy into some of that because I have over-processed some companies, and then the people part becomes the problem because getting the people to follow the process is strenuous, especially when you build the process. So when I coach people now to do something, I tell them, if you're going to hire Mark, bring Mark in, teach Mark the flow of the system, then have Mark build the process, and then he's bought into the process because it's his process.
Right.
And make sure that it fits within the company's values, mission, and belief, and all those types of things. So that's one thought process, that don't over-process a company. But then the other thought process is process everything to the gnat's ass, and then hire people, technicians they're called, that love to follow processes.
Yeah.
There are people out there in this planet, they're called generators from a human design perspective, technicians from a work perspective, and they just love to check boxes. They love to have a system in front of them, go down it, and they check boxes. My controller is one of them. And so I'll never get rid of her because she loves to follow the process.
Yeah.
And that brings a lot of freedom for me. So.
Yeah. I like that a lot. And then as far as for the morning ritual, it's a great way to start the day. If anybody's thinking of figuring out how to start your day on the right foot, start with gratitude, start with love, and go forth. Be. So another thing that I've been interested in is, how do you currently or in the past have evaluated partners or investors before getting involved?
Good question. So it's all about energy for me. It's all about, do our beliefs and values align? And I've had a lot of people that want to partner with me, and I look at the dynamics, and I like to bring a lot of things back to human design. So in human design, I'm a projector. And so I work best with generators and sometimes manifesting generators. if I get another projector in the room, then it's like having two kings trying to rule a kingdom. It just doesn't work well.
Right.
And so I like to look at the energetic dynamic of the individual that I'm potentially going into partnership with. And I have to understand how I operate. And when I'm in a business, there's a certain part of the show that I need to run, or I'm not going to be authentic to myself. Mm-hmm. And being authentic to me is what creates success in my life or in the business that I'm working within. Mm-hmm. And so I need partners that are very good at things that I truly don't enjoy, mm-hmm. such as marketing, or as
I see.
Like, I love to partner with CFOs who love to oversee the nitty-gritty of the numbers. Mm-hmm. I actually love numbers, but I don't like to be in the numbers often. Yeah. I like to be in there once, twice a week tops. And so you want to find partners that are opposite of your strengths, mm-hmm. which is rare, because we typically want to hire or partner with the people that are like us. Yeah. And this is where we make a lot of mistakes. We meet this guy, and he's cool, he's dressed cool, mm-hmm. he's well built, mm-hmm. he talks good, and he reminds you of you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so you automatically trust him because there's a foundation of truth, right? Mm-hmm. And then you want to go into business with him. Mm-hmm. But the reason why you like him is because he reminds you of you. And mm-hmm. the last thing you need in a business is another you. Yeah. Yeah. So especially as a partnership. So I truly look for the people that are more boring, mm-hmm. because I'm very charismatic, I'm very exciting. So we don't want two charismatic, exciting people in a business. That does not create a successful business. I need a boring, black and white individual to partner with. Right. And so I look at those things. It's all about energy.
King of the castle. So, and then how do you identify, well, I mean, this is kind of in line, and I feel like I know how you're going to respond, but I guess I should still ask it. I wrote it down. How do you identify great talent early?
I look for integrity. Mm-hmm. I look for awareness. I look for, and it depends on the role, because in business, we need to hire for the role, mm-hmm. not what resonates with us. Again, right. I'm a salesman, so you're a salesman. Mm-hmm. So I automatically was attracted to you. Mm-hmm. And I was attracted to your look, your dress, those things like that. But if I need a manager, you're not a manager. Mm-hmm. And I would set you up for failure if I put you in a managerial position. Yeah. And so we need to hire for the role that we're filling. And so managers are the hardest thing under the sun to acquire, a good manager. So let's talk about that for a second. So if I'm going to go look for a good manager and I'm going to have an interview process, I'm going to look for somebody who shows up very organized, sits down, opens up their laptop, quickly gets into what they need, has a notebook on the side, analog, digital, understands the conversation, speaks to me and looks in my eyes when they talk, communicates directly, doesn't stutter over all their words, and is very good at expressing emotions, reading the table, reading me, matching and mirroring. I know some of these are sales techniques, but sales techniques are built to create trust. And we need to hire people that are in the position as such as a manager that needs to build trust with the people they're managing. Yeah. And I look for somebody that asks a lot of questions if they're a manager. A manager should ask a lot of questions, solicit a lot of information, gather the information and make a decision. So every role and responsibility you're hiring for is a little bit different. But in every role, I'm looking how they show up, what their awareness is, and how they present themselves, because that means everything to me.
That's beautiful. Now, out of those people, whether technicians, generators, managers, partners, how do you keep, ultimately you want obviously high performers, which I know you've attracted a lot of. How do you keep those high performers motivated and loyal? Because they can be high performers wherever they go.
So I've built a ton of companies, and I went through a stage of resisting giving equity and ownership to qualified individuals. And I wanted to keep all the equity for myself, including my capital partners. And every time I did that, I burned at the stake, if you will. So I've been through everything you can imagine, Chapter 7, Chapter 11, reorganizations of every type because of my ego. And so what I learned through those times was spread out the risk by spreading out the reward. And so I allow, like Nova Via, for example, our addiction recovery centers, my entire C-suite has ownership. And their dividend checks will be in the six figures. And so they have a lot to win, and I have a lot to win. And so a dear friend who owns like 75 Subways and was a mentor for me for a while, he said, it's not that they don't have anything to lose, Travis, it's that they don't have as much to win as you do. And so that woke me up. And so all of my employees at the C-suite level are always my partners now. And that entices them to stay. The other thing that I have become very aware of is not taking the credit. Most of us CEOs and A-type personalities, we want to take the credit for everything. As we awaken spiritually and as we become aware to the joy of letting others take credit, then I am constantly giving kudos and credit towards people. I respect how they buy, of course, mentally, physically, and emotionally, but I like to give a lot of credit to my people. So on all the team calls, which is twice a week, I really call out the kudos for what they're doing, and then I get really excited about giving them those big checks.
And I really liked what you said there, spread out the risk by spreading out the reward. I think that's a phenomenal lesson.
Yeah, and another thing that comes along with that is just culture. And the culture always precedes the leader. And if the leader is not a good leader, you're not going to have a good culture, and you're going to have constant turnover.
How would you discern between somebody who is a good leader and somebody who isn't? Is it just maturity or wisdom? Or
a good leader knows the business inside out, upside down, and backwards. There's a saying that says a good leader follows his people home, meaning that you know your people, you know them personally. I don't recommend a good leader being friends with their employees. It's a dangerous situation, and it's never ended up good for me because we live in a glass house. That's a whole other conversation. But following your people home means know their lives, know who they are, know how they operate. And so I am a safe place for all of my employees. Our company is a safe place for our employees. As long as they're being the grandest version of themselves, they're safe. So that's another key feature, is a good leader knows his people, and a good leader knows his business inside out, upside down, and backwards so well that he can or she can never be talked out of it. And all of my businesses, even though I don't do all the parts and pieces, I know all the parts and pieces so well I can't be talked out of it. And that really gains a lot of respect and what they call street cred with your employees. And then they want to stay because the culture is high. Right.
That was one of the first bits of wisdom that you shared with me that at the very least I wrote down. Know your product so well, know your service so well that you can't be talked out of it. So what kind of people do you avoid working with then?
Anything with dark energy. I know that might sound a little confusing, but everybody knows what dark energy is. Anybody who's all about the money, if they're not about the mission, the vision, and the values, and they're just about the bottom line, I won't work with them. The greatest gift we've been given is the opportunity to serve others through our gifts and our talents.
Yeah.
That's how we know we have gifts and talents.
Mm-hmm.
If there was nobody to serve, we wouldn't know we have gifts and talents. And so people who are, and this is a very overused word, but narcissistic and very selfish in what their value system is, their belief system is, I can't work with, I won't work with, regardless of the potential outcome.
Yeah.
And then I look for truth. From the moment we start talking, every word that comes out of their mouth, I look for congruency in their life, and I look for truth. And if I don't feel truth and I don't feel congruency, again, it comes back to the founder piece, then I won't get involved.
Yeah. And so is that usually, like, are there physical things that a person does, or is it really just discernment, that you learn over time?
Just to give you an example, I'm building a Web3 component with AI facial recognition and blockchain in the health and wellness space. And I was interviewing really astute companies off of Upwork, because Upwork is a great tool to capture companies from around the world. And I found this incredible company and this amazing guy, and he knew HIPAA compliance really well, and he totally grasped the vision, and he was all about it. And I went to pay him to start the contract. And in Upwork, you sign a contract with Upwork as a subcontractor and as a user, that all the money has to flow through Upwork. That's how Upwork makes their money. And they have a giant platform, and it costs a lot of money to operate that kind of tech. And this guy said, don't pay through Upwork. Send me a Zelle to this account, and we'll just do that. And I said, so I call that a leading indicator. So if he will screw Upwork, then he'll screw who else?
Right.
If he'll screw Upwork, who else will he screw?
You.
Everybody.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah.
So a leading indicator, that was it.
Yeah.
I said, oh man, wow, okay. So I just want you to know, and I love to tell the truth, you know that. I said, that's bullshit. You signed a contract with Upwork. They have a business to run just like you do, and I understand that you don't want the cut to come out, but that's not right. So I won't work with you. So sorry that you put in all this effort, but hopefully you take this to heart and you get your shit straight. That was a leading indicator. That was an action that says, I won't work with this individual.
How a man does anything is how he does everything.
Yes. You either have integrity or you don't.
Right. So what habits or systems helped you stay focused during chaos or rapid scaling?
Oh man, rapid scaling is ultimate demise. Can be. So I've been through all of that, and nothing helped me more than my morning rituals. As an entrepreneur and as someone who is juggling a ton of balls or spinning a lot of plates at the same time, there is no work-life balance. Balancing something on a balance point is so finite, I don't like to use that term. So we build this work-life integration where it's like a dovetailed drawer. It fits perfectly together. It's all one big thing, and there's not one piece aside from the other piece. So building work-life integration is incredibly important. So I find it incredibly valuable to get up early in the morning and give myself 3 to 4 hours of making love to myself time, is what I call it. And from the gratitude stuff we were talking about earlier to other rituals that I've learned to do from a spiritual perspective, breath work, stretching, rolling out, cold plunge, all the stuff that we've been going through for the past couple days, I wouldn't have got through a lot of the challenges that, or I hallucinate that I would not have got through a lot of the challenges that I was going through had I not been so solid in taking care of me. Because there's a law of the universe that you can only give away what you possess.
Right.
And if you don't possess the ability to love thyself and to know thyself and to take care of thyself, then you're only kidding yourself that you're helping or giving to others.
Right. Right. Well, yeah, starting the day with a really intentional focus on the self and all the things that you love in your life, all the people that you love around you, whether it's family, friends, old and new, business partners, clients, and just mentally visualizing that sort of bliss of all those different aspects of your life, having fun. All the great winners that I know, that I've met, are huge proponents of visualization. There's something to it that it's far more powerful than even just like hard work and training. Visualizing how you want to do something is key, I think, to stratospheric success. I've heard Michael Jordan talking about it, Dave Goggins talking about it, a lot of business people talking about it. And if you think just, at least when I think just for myself looking back, there are such a small number of decisions that I've made in my life that have impacted and created the life that I actually want. So many little decisions that we make, so many efforts that we put energy in, really go to, in a sense, to nothing as far as what we have right now and what we actually care about now. And so being really intentional and really listening, finding that discernment of what you actually want to do is a superpower. So, and you've taught me, you've affirmed for me a lot of premonitions that I already had about listening to the gut, listening to that inner voice, that inner child, and just following your heart, following your gut, however you want to call it, but I think we all do feel it. Back to business. What was the single biggest leverage point that scaled your wealth the fastest?
That's a good question, because I've had a lot of different scaling opportunities. Passion is what drives production, and Alex Hormozi talks about the race to the bottom and the zero-sum game. And if you're, one of my companies is a cell phone case company, and there's a red ocean of cell phone cases from $1 to $60, countless. And our cell phone cases are $200 to $300. They're luxury, specifically like precision-made items. And so when I look at that, my passion was to build a cell phone case that matched an individual's dress, so that the cell phone case was congruent with the excellence that they oozed from their company and from the way that they present themselves to the world.
Right.
And so when you mix passion with a product, and that product is a standout blue ocean, which you've got the red ocean from the 0 to 60, then you've got a blue ocean from $120 to $300, $400. Then you've got something that can scale.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is get people to understand the value of the product and things of that nature, which is all marketing stuff. But then shift that over to the addiction recovery centers, I will never make the amount, I say this loosely, but the chances of making the amount of money on the cell phone cases that I will make in the addiction recovery centers, the addiction recovery centers make hundreds of millions of dollars. The cell phone cases are a hobby that allowed me to make sure I've got a beautiful case, you've got a beautiful case, and stuff like that. And so when you look at your leverage points, where does your passion lie that has the highest leverage and the greatest impact? So it took, call it a year, to stand up the first addiction recovery center that would gross 25 to 30 million a year over year. And that's high leverage. And when I put that amount of effort into the cell phone case company, I even lived in China, put the supply chain together and did all those things. I put a lot of energy and effort into something that barely breaks even, if you will, even with high margins. And so you look at your passion and then look at your leverage points and go for the highest leverage as long as it aligns with your passion. Oftentimes we just latch on to whatever might work, which is fine, but again, you're just buying a job. With latching onto something that is high leverage, high gross, and has high profit margins, and you're passionate about it, work is fun. As you started this podcast with, you have time. Like, I do have time. I'm not stressed out, and I am running 3 companies, and we are changing the world. And it really comes down to those leverage points, systems, processes, and things like that, but high leverage in your passion.
High leverage in your passion. Well, yeah, there's a lot of potential to scale in the e-commerce space, so I'm stoked to see Exovault, which is the phone case company for the viewer, in Gucci and Louis Vuitton and State and Liberty, all these chains.
Yeah, but that's not the e-commerce space. That's the retail space.
Right.
And you're right. I need to get out of the e-com space because the e-com space, the D2C space, has become an absolute red ocean.
Okay. Yeah, I've known quite a few people who, and also what's exceptionally difficult about e-com is, especially if you're starting out, I've known quite a few people who started out and they made, 10 grand, 20 grand in a month, but then something changes on Amazon's back end where they don't like you anymore, or whatever happens, you're really like kind of a slave to whatever platform you're selling through, unless it's your own website. But you even saw with, I don't know if you saw about Yeezy, that's all his own product, that's all his own marketing, that's all his own everything, but it was built on Shopify. And after he said some things, which obviously were maybe not the best thing to say, but they deplatformed him, it's Kanye West. And so yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty in that space, which makes it high potential to make a lot of money, but also you have to really have the stomach for it. I think it's kind of similar to day trading. It's a lot of just constantly being on it and constantly checking your phone.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's true.
I have 2 final questions. What habits or systems helped you stay focused? Oh, geez. I need to cut that out. I already asked that. I have one final question. How do you spot trends before others do?
So this comes back to the passion piece. If you're looking for trends to get into something, you're chasing money,
Right.
not passion.
Right.
And you can guarantee a short-lived stint, whatever it is.
Right.
So there's a term in business called fast follow, meaning that you put out a product, it does really well, and then I see your product, and I'm a fast follow guy, and I automatically just call my contacts in China, send them a product, they copy it, and I'm right behind you as a fast follow with a product for half the price. That's a zero-sum game, a race to the bottom. But if you are truly passionate about your product and you're truly passionate about your mission and your vision, I believe that the universe will pave the way for your success. And as long as you are consistent and motivated and stay in the game, you will eventually reach that tipping point where wealth will be yours. Remember,
Right.
wealth will be yours, and then riches will follow, and then your freedom will then follow as a business owner. And so now moving into being a business owner and looking at trends. Like, I look at trends because we're a Medicaid, Medicare company and primary providers. And so I need to constantly look at the trends of, it changes if a Republican's in office, if a Democrat is in office, that changes my world. And then we're state paid because Medicaid is state paid. So then I need to pay attention to what the governor's doing in each state that we're in, what the president is doing, what is going through Congress, what's passed the House, all the things, like the big beautiful bill is here, and they're proposing an $800 billion Medicaid, Medicare cut.
Sheesh.
Okay, so that is a leading indicator for me, which some would call a trend, that I need to look out for. So I know what the proposed cuts are, and we've already built proposed enactions for those that we'll be able to do in-house if indeed they affect the addiction recovery space.
Wow.
And so I think trends are incredibly important because data is incredibly important. But if you're getting into and identifying a business solely on a trend and not a passion, then you're already going the wrong direction.
Now then, final question. You've given me quite a few great book recommendations and recommendations in general. One piece of advice and or a book, whichever you feel more comfortable sharing, for people in sales looking to generate revenue, entrepreneurs, people looking to win.
Man, in sales, I really, really like Alex Hermosi's value and his wisdom. Talk about wisdom. Like, he's genuinely wise.
Yeah.
Which means he took knowledge and created a lot of bridges. So $100 million offers is amazing, and his books are incredible, so I give him a lot of props. He's great. And a book that I would recommend just for everybody is Swords of Illumination by David C. Alcott. Swords of Illumination is amazing because it helps you define and declare and decide who I am. And the greatest journey that I've ever gone on is the journey to know thyself. Fall in love with thyself, and to be able to be congruent and expressive and authentically me. And so once you're congruent and authentically you, the universe opens up like a pearl, and you realize that you are the creator and that nothing is out of reach. Nothing. We are dreamers. We came here to be the dreamer, and everything in this 3D system is designed to support us, but we are so underutilized for the dream. So, yep.
I like that. Well, Travis Steffens, thank you very much for coming on my podcast, being my first official guest. It means a lot, really. And I wish you all the success and the wealth and the truth and authenticity and love. and anything else that you desire. You have a great heart. Thank you for all that you do, all that you are, and I'm very eager to see all the things, all the change, all the impact that you make.
It's my pleasure, brother. Thank you.
Thank you. See ya. How was it?
It was great.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah?
you did great.
Good.
Great questions.
Thank you.
It's great.